Les classes de première et de terminale dans le lycée d'enseignement général et technologique. A reminder of where we're up to then. We're in the lycée général et technologique. Everyone does the seconde together, the equivalent to year 11, and then they've got to choose whether they want to go to the general route or to the technological route. And route, pathway, course, whatever you want to call it. Route probably, maybe the way that I would use it for a voie. Une voie is a pathway or a route. So, what have we got? Obviously, les classes de première et terminale conduisent à l'examen du baccalauréat. They all lead to the baccalaureate exam, which is the equivalent A-level, and is your ticket to go to higher education. If you go sur le site du gouvernement, le nouveau baccalauréat, it's called the new one because it is new. Everybody's doing it now. Le nouveau baccalauréat redonne au baccalauréat son sens et son utilité. So it's giving it, it says again, giving it back its sense, its meaning and its usefulness, avec un examen remusclé et un lycée plus simple, plus à l'écoute des aspirations des lycéens, pour leur donner les moyens de se projeter vers la réussite dans l'enseignement supérieur. Retrouvez toute l'information sur le nouveau lycée et baccalauréat. So, the new baccalaureate is giving back to the baccalaureate its meaning, its usefulness, with an exam which has really been strengthened again, developed. And it's simpler and more listening to the aspirations of the students to give them the means of taking themselves forward to success in higher education. So as usual, we can now press here to go to the site. Le nouveau baccalauréat, on vient de le lire, we've just read that. So this is what it's saying, what is new to people. Il n'y a plus de séries en voie générale, no more series. So it used to be that there were series that you followed, but now you can choose the subjects that you want. There's much more choice. So if you go through there, it tells you about the final test, which is 60%, and then the ongoing assessment, which is 40%, so that's new. And that's what my presentation is going to show you in a bit more detail now. So there we are. So what are the pathways, the routes that you can go? Général et technologique. Now we already know then that the seconde générale et technologique is in common. Everybody's done these okay all together. And now let's see what the differences are. So if you want to go to général, that tends to be, they tend to use blue, it seems, for général. Everybody, tous les élèves suivent des enseignements communs, so everybody has a core subjects which everybody does. So whatever you choose, you're definitely going to do français, histoire géo, enseignement moral et civique, langue vivante A et langue vivante B, so 2 languages, éducation physique et sportive, et enseignement scientifique. So it's often seen that people who go for this, the general rather than technological, tend to be the ones perhaps who don't like the sciences as much, but yeah, that's rubbish. So back to my PowerPoint for a résumé of this. Les voies générales et technologiques, so the routes. We already know this, that in seconde you have common for both of them. For the bleu, that's the général, and the orange, which is the technologique. But now what happens in première et terminale if you go for the général? First of all, you'll have, whatever you do in the général, you'll have some subjects in common with everybody. You carry on with French languages, history, moral and civic education, and some form of science education. So you do keep that going. But you're allowed then to have enseignement de spécialité, speciality subjects. And you can choose 3 spécialités en première, 3 in your first year, and then that reduces to 2 spécialités en terminale, 2 when it gets to upper 6. And this is where it's very different from how it used to be. It used to be that you would choose one of 3 pathways. Those pathways had a fixed number of subjects which you would do. it meant that people tended to go just for an arts one, for a literature one, for a scientific one, for an economic and social one. Here they're saying, look, you can mix and match them a bit more. So we've got these 12 specialities which you can have. So there's a choice of that, and there's also a choice of options. If you go for the technologique, again, sorry, in here it's to do with santé, gestion et design in industrie, so health, management, design and industry. So here you'll go for a series of subjects. So you'll choose any of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 series, and you can choose one of them, which then will have all of this little bunch of subjects all together with it. But you do have some core lessons as well: éducation physique et sportive, morale et civique, français, histoire géo, langue vivante et mathématiques. And by the way, what's the difference between the enseignement commun for the technologique and for the général? Can you see what the difference is? So they have the same, except for général they have enseignement scientifique. Everybody is forced to do some form of science, and here everyone is forced to do some form of mathématiques. There's a good site that you can go to with much more information about, do you go for the general or for the technological. So this is this site that's been put just for people in the seconde et première, and it reminds you what the speciality are for the 12 ones you could have for the speciality, and what the 8 series are for the technologique. And as always, they managed to get some nice attractive people doing videos to say, should you do the bac général or the bac technologique, this time on the ONICEP site, which is particularly to do with degrees. So you can look there, is it one or the other? So again, by clicking on there, it'll take you to that area. So there you can watch him say which one
Alors,
you do.
Prêt à étudier encore quelques années? Après ton bac, hein, je veux dire. Hein. Ah oui, après un bac technologique ou un bac général, poursuivre tes études, c'est un peu ce qui t'attend. Mais entre la voie générale et la voie technologique, comment choisir? Allez, viens, t'en fais pas, on va réfléchir ensemble.
Okay, so then we can go on. I've just brought together, again, comparing the two. That tells you what the subjects are and the number of hours that you would do for each of them. First of all, on the général side, ones in common, the core ones, the speciality and the optional, and then on the technology side, so there's the common, the ones in common, speciality and optional. And this is again to do with the showing a little bit more detail what the ones in common are, and it's where you're noticing the difference between the fact that here in the général you do scientific as a core, and here in the technologique you do maths as a core. It has caused a bit of a controversy because some people think that it's wrong that students should be allowed to just basically drop maths when they get into the sixth form. Before, everybody was doing maths right up to the end. So there's the summary then. Subjects in common. This is where the voie générale also has l'enseignement scientifique, et la voie technologique a aussi les maths. And then you've got the contrast between les enseignements de spécialité en voie générale and les séries en voie technologique.